There's something very special about a low and slow brisket, and that's what we're cooking today on my Yoder Frontiersman. Stay tuned. You can see, look at this bark. It's crazy. Oh man, this is perfect. It helps to start with a nice sharp knife, okay? Oh my goodness. Look at that. All right, so we've got a 20-pound choice brisket. This is a certified Angus beef. You guys may hear it referred to as a cab. This is it. This is a superior beef product. And I got this one from Restaurant Depot. Now, I'm not going to show you the entire trimming process, but one thing that caught my eye immediately was the marbling that is on this point, okay? Sometimes you will get lucky with a nice brisket like this. I'm going to trim this off anyway, so I'm just going to show you what's behind this fat here, okay? I want you guys to see this point here. Okay, maybe just a little bit more. Just like that. Okay, I was going to trim that off anyway, but look at this marbling right here. This is crazy marbling. For a choice brisket, I mean, I get primes that don't look this good, okay? My trimming is real simple, okay? I like to trim off the edges, the front. I'm gonna take the fat off of the side, get this decal fat off as well. And also on the fat side, I'm gonna trim that up really nice and neat. Now, I'm not gonna show you the process, but I will leave a link up top so you guys can see one of my trimming videos. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got my brisket trimmed up. Now look at this point. That is insane. That's like, I've seen Wagyu from Midland Meat Company like this, but not on a choice like this, okay? This is crazy, crazy marbling. So let's go ahead and what I'm gonna do is inject this brisket, and I am using Cosmos Q. This is his reserve blend, okay? Just in case you're wondering. So just gonna inject this brisket all over the place. See if I don't squirt all over the place here. There it is, first squirt. So just inject this brisket. Just like that. It's gonna get nice and plump. You wanna add a bunch of injection, especially on a low and slow, because it's gonna sit there probably 14 hours in my smoker. Now I'm prepping this the night before, but I'm gonna get up really early tomorrow morning and go ahead and put the brisket in the smoker at that time. So I'm gonna continue to inject this brisket and I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got the brisket injected. Now one thing that I did wanna mention is that I cut out a lot of this decal fat, and the reason for it is because when this brisket is finished, I am gonna separate it. So I like to do this whenever I'm gonna separate a brisket. Just cut out a lot of this fat right here where you have the flat sitting on top of the point. That way it's a lot easier to see, and you can separate this brisket just by simply running your knife right below the flat. So let's get on to rubbing the brisket. Okay, I'm really liking this brisket. For a choice, again, the marbling is crazy. So the first rub I am using here is the Victory Lane garlic jalapeno seasonal. Just a light layer. Nothing too crazy. Adds a little bit of flavor, kind of like an SPG, but it also has some jalapeno in it. Gives it a nice little bite. Nothing too crazy, just nothing but flavor. Okay, just a nice light layer like that. The second rub, excuse me, is this top secret rub from Victory Lane. It's not out in the market yet, but again, as soon as it is, I will let you guys know, maybe even give a couple of bottles away. But take a look at this rub here. You guys are gonna like this. I actually just smoked a tri-tip using this rub, and I'm like, I've got to use this on a brisket too. So you can see that big pepper chunks in there. This is gonna be so good. Again, I'm gonna smoke this really early tomorrow morning. I'm gonna finish rubbing this down, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Stay tuned. All right, so it's 6 o'clock in the morning the next day, and I prelit my smoker about an hour ago, and it is ready to go. I'm running at 250 degrees. I'm going to be putting this brisket on the right side, top shelf, point facing that firebox. Okay. So again, this brisket we trimmed yesterday and seasoned yesterday, and it's a big one. Okay. It was 20 pounds to begin with, and it's probably right now, oh man, I would say 17 pounds. Again, pointing towards that firebox. And I probably won't spritz this or even open this lid for 3 hours. At that point, I will bring you guys back. We'll take a look at that brisket. Again, low and slow is between 225, 250 tops. I usually run this smoker close to 325 to start with, and then lower it down to 300 or 275. I can have a brisket done in 6-7 hours. But I want to get 12 good hours worth of smoke on this brisket. We'll see you guys back in about 3 hours. Stay tuned. All right, so we're 3 hours into the cook now. Let's take a look at this brisket. And I do have my spritz ready just in case. Oh yeah, that bark is set. Okay, got a really nice color. I got to tell you, that rub that I used on this brisket, get you guys in a little closer. Just has a beautiful color. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and spritz. I'm using apple cider vinegar and water mixed at 50-50. Oh yeah. This is going to be a really good brisket, I got to tell you that. Now if you notice where I separated the flat from the point, a lot of this fat's going to render down, and this flat will kind of lay down here in a little bit, but that's going to give you my guide when I separate the flat from the point. So just a good little spritz. Again, apple cider vinegar and water mixed at 50-50. We'll see you guys back in a couple hours. Stay tuned. All right, 6.5 hour mark. Gonna take an internal temperature here. Man, that color is amazing. Still not tender. Still not tender. So 155. 157. You know what? I'm liking the color already. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it. Temperature is about 160, but I'm really liking that color. I'm just gonna wrap it in some butcher paper, put a little bit of spritz in the wrap, put it back in the smoker, same spot, and I'll let you guys know exactly how long it took. Stay tuned. All right, so the brisket is ready, and the total cook time was right at 12 hours, and it's only been resting for 40 minutes, so this sucker is gonna be pretty hot. Again, ever since I've got my Frontiersman, I started cooking them pretty hot and fast. Let's move this over and get this brisket out of here. So hot and fast to me, you know, I was doing them in 6-7 hours, and they were coming out just fantastic. So here's the brisket. It was temping at 203 degrees when I pulled it. Got some of the paper stuck on the bottom. And that'll happen sometimes with an offset smoker. Sometimes the paper will stick, and that's because of the fat cap itself. So let's see how we did on this brisket. Number one, it's extremely juicy. You can still see some of the steam coming out of it. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I am going to separate this, and I sliced this the decal just to make it a lot easier. Just glide your knife. Okay, the knife will kind of go where it wants to go. So now you have your flat and you have your point right here. Okay, now your point, we're going to do some tacos with this, okay? But you want to slice it this way. Okay, this and this is going to be, we're going to shred this or chop it up and make some tacos with it for dinner tonight. Let's take a look at the brisket and see how we did. Okay, actually I'm just going to slice it somewhere in the middle here. Man, it's juicy. It's really juicy and really hot. See how we did on the smoke ring? Oh yeah, Now these dark spots that you see there, that's from the injection. Okay, and you will get that if you guys inject. So here's that hang test. I mean, it's just folding right over. Okay, let's back the camera up and give it a taste. Stay tuned. All right, let's give this brisket a try. I already chopped up a couple of pieces. I'm gonna give one to my daughter first, since she works just as hard as I do. There you go, baby. And I'm gonna get myself a little piece too. Now, one thing about this rub is it's got a really nice dark red rich color, and when you slice it, a little bit of that redness kind of gets down in there, so I know it's going to be full of flavor. Let's give it a try here. Man. Like it, baby? Wow. You know, there's something very special about, look at that. There's something very special about a low and slow brisket. You know, not that the hot and fast briskets are bad, but when you do low and slow, man, it comes out so good. So I'm just gonna get a piece of this point meat here. Look at that. Nice, full of bark, full of flavor, good smoky taste to it. I gotta tell you, I'm really liking this brisket. And this is a choice brisket. It's not even a prime brisket or a Wagyu. And I gotta tell you, the smoke ring that we got off of that Frontiersman, look at that. Hope you guys can make that on camera. But really good brisket. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button if this is your first time here. Till next time, Joe with Smokin Joe's Pig Barbecue. See ya.